Unified Media. This is NewsLink Indiana.
Good afternoon and welcome to NewsLink Indiana. I'm Brittany Carlin. We begin with a developing story at Muncie Central High School. Things are now returning to normal after a scare earlier today. Muncie police say a threat was made on social media to a school in Kentucky, a school that has the same initials as Muncie Central. The first MCS officials thought the threat may have been intended for Central, and they called the sheriffs and the Muncie police. They took measures to protect students and staff. Police say an arrest was made in the Kentucky case, and there will be an extra security at Muncie Central for the next few days just to be safe. A lawsuit against the city of Muncie is in its final hours. Tony Sandlaben has more.
The Thomas Bracken versus City of Muncie case could be in its final day here in Hamilton County. What was originally supposed to be a preliminary hearing was agreed upon by both sides to be the final hearing of the case. Thomas Bracken is suing the City of Muncie over a $4.5 million loan to the Mad Jacks project. He says the loan did not go through the proper channels and hurts taxpayers and the city overall. Meanwhile, the city says that the loan would help improve the project and improve businesses that are already in the Mad Jacks facility, as well as businesses that want to be there. Be sure to tune in to NewsLink Indiana tonight at 6 for the very latest from this court hearing, the decision the court makes, and any fallout from that move. In Noblesville, Tony Sandlaben, NewsLink Indiana.
The preliminary hearing scheduled for today is ongoing and both parties agreed this will be the final hearing for the case. Tune in to NewsLink Indiana tonight at 6 for the full story. A federal judge and prosecutor are warning Indiana residents about a nationwide jury duty scam that is threatening to arrest people if they don't pay up. They say the scam pose as federal marshals or other government officials and claim the victim can avoid arrest by paying a so-called fine. One of the most recognizable personalities on television has been fired after an inappropriate sexual behavior complaint. NBC News fired 59-year-old Matt Lauer Wednesday morning. They announced that Lauer was let go after a detailed complaint from a colleague Monday night. The network says it was the first complaint against him, but they have reasons to believe it may not have been an isolated incident. Lauer's Today Show colleague Savannah Gerthy made the announcement at the top of the show, calling it a, quote, sad morning. She said she was heartbroken for Matt and also felt heartbroken for the woman who accused Lauer of misconduct. According to the source and with knowledge of the situation, Lauer was informed of the network's decision late Tuesday night. Reporters for the New York Times and Variety had been investigating Lauer for several weeks. According to sources who had been contacted by the Times, Lauer was part of NBC News for over 20 years. A North Central Indiana high school teacher has been charged with drug possession. Officers were called to Lake Central High School last week after students saw 24-year-old Samantha Cox with drugs in her classroom. The affidavits say one student's record a video on the Cox with the drugs. Investigators say Cox brought $160 worth of cocaine before arriving at the school. Lake Central superintendent says, quote, principals, quote, took swift and forceful action. They have declined to confirm whether or not Cox is still employed, saying it was part of an ongoing investigation. There's been some similarities in a number of drug overdoses in Fort Wayne. There's been a rash of drug overdoses in Fort Wayne, Indiana, a number of them occurring in city parks. Police say at least 7 of the cases responded to were related to synthetic marijuana called Spice. That's a drug, authorities say, and when a tainted version of the product is around, overdoses calls increase.
Having a very adverse effect, then our calls for service go up. But in between, typically we don't see it because it's not having a negative effect on the body to the point where they're incapacitated or near death.
Police believe they'll see even more overdoses over the next few days. Ozzy Osbourne and Jack Osbourne were in Muncie back in April, but no one knew why. And now we know that they were shooting an episode of their show, Ozzy and Jack's World Detour, while training with the K-9 unit in Muncie. Jack Osbourne plays a reserve officer for the Muncie Police. The episode will air tonight at 10 on A&E. Evansville High School football coach and Andy Hype is being investigated. On October 14th, the team won their game and gathered to do a prayer for the victory. The Freedom from Religion Foundation says that the coach committed a serious and flagrant violation of the First Amendment. But the school district spokesperson, Jason Wabekingberg, says that it was a student-led prayer and that it is acceptable at any school. It's just about a week after Thanksgiving, and for most people, it is the start of this holiday season. Kirsten Wamsley is live now with some real Christmas trees to tell us how they get to your home. Kirsten?
I am live here at the Muncie Kiwanis Club Christmas tree sale. And trees like this one, as you see behind me, they're pre-cut and they are ready to go home. But I've got this thought on my mind. How did these trees get here?
Okay, you ready for a countdown?
Yeah. 3, 2.
Hold on.
What does it take to get your Christmas tree from here to getting it ready to take home? All it takes is a saw, a cart, and
it's tender, loving care and shaping them into a Christmas tree from a very young age.
Kira Reed and her husband Brent are on their 3rd season at Millbrook Tree Farms, and it took time to get those trees ready for the season.
We literally shovel in hand, split the ground, plant the trees. We have to wait for a good rain for the ground to seal. And it can't be too cold, otherwise they will freeze. So we spend March and April normally planting.
But the care for the trees does not stop there. It's everyday work all year round preparing for the season.
But starting in March, from March until fall, we're out here every day looking at the trees, taking care of the trees, making sure the weeds aren't growing around the trees. And it's time consuming. It's not a real difficult job at times because it's just so pleasant to be out here.
All the time spent out in the trees, they are shearing them too, shaping them into a Christmas tree shape, and even giving them a little extra love by talking to them.
I've talked to them and told them to keep growing because we want a Christmas tree in a few years.
The hard work all pays off when a family picks the perfect tree.
All right. I think Mama's gonna like this tree.
Tender, loving, and care. That's all it takes to get a seedling to one of these big Christmas trees for you to take home. And the time it takes to grow one of these trees, it depends on the type of tree. But Millbrook Tree Farms works hard, long hours to get it done for you. And all this talk of trees really has me in the Christmas spirit. Live in Muncie, Kirsten Wamsley, NewsLink, Indiana.
If you want to take home a Millbrook Farms Christmas tree, you can find all the information you need to know at millbrookstf.com. Now, here's a look at your NewsLink Indiana forecast. These are the current conditions. It is currently 52 degrees outside right now, and you can see the winds are very calm, and it feels just as it is. It feels like 52. And then if we want to go into the rest of our day around 2, you're going to see still calm, 52 degrees at 5 p.m. It'll be 49, so a little bit colder. And then by 8 p.m., we're going to go down to about 43 degrees. And now let's go into our forecast for the week. You can say that the temperatures are kind of staying in the 50s, going down a little bit by Wednesday of next week to 35. This week, 54 today. Or 54 tomorrow, 47 Friday, 51 Saturday, Sunday, 56, and then going a little bit warmer Monday, and that is all. So that's going to do it for us this afternoon. Thank you for joining us. I'm Brittany Carlin. Be sure to tune in to NewsLink Indiana tonight at 6:57 on WIPB TV. Have a great rest of your day.